Alright, I'd just like to walk you through our little experience today that students are encountering that relates directly to 9/11. It's basically a 9/11 primary source simulation. And primary sources are just those sources that are directly related to the event. They were created or written during or as a result of the events of 9/11. So let's check out what students are looking at today. First stop involves newspapers from the day after the attack. Students are just simply asked over here to do two tasks. Number one is to identify which primary source is most powerful or what impacts them the most, and then explain why. But also they're also asked to develop their own newspaper headline. That leads us to step two, which takes us to the back of the room. In step two, you'll see all the faces of the terrorists. So these are all 19 terrorists that were involved in the attack. Over here, students are asked to basically explain and connect these faces to an activity we did in class, where students were asked to try and identify terrorists as a way to point out that it's very difficult to identify them and find them and stop what they're doing. Also, you'll see a list of all the victims that were killed during that day. Those highlighted in green have Iowa connections. Next is Station 3. We go across the room here to the photo center. And basically, students here, they're checking out all these different pictures. They're identifying the one that impacts them the most, that makes them feel something, whether it's shock or sadness or empathy or fear. Students are just asked to check out the pictures and explain which pictures impact them the most. That takes us to step 4. Over here to the chalkboard, it's a collection of quotes taken from September 11th. Again, something similar to the photo center. They're reading the quotes and deciding what would be most powerful to them if they were alive during 9/11. Which quote would impact them the most? Also, I asked them to create their own quote. What would they say if they were the President of America or a politician? Station 5 takes us to the back corner here. Students are able to watch an animation that really it's a 3D computer generated animation about the memorial. Students also are given the chance to check out the memorial by exploring this website, the 911memorial.org website. Station 6, students actually have a quiz in here as well. They work together in groups, and the quiz basically has 2 questions in several parts. Question 1 deals with primary sources themselves, and then question 2, students are asked to identify and explain the 4 key elements of our definition of terrorism. Finally, Station 7, over here, it's the listening station. There are several websites out there. They have 3 websites to choose from. Oral histories, where people who survived the attacks or lived through it or were first responders, they kind of talk about in an interview what they saw. Also, you have National Geographic. They have a great website called Remembering 9/11. It has videos, primary sources, artifacts, all kinds of great things. Finally, StoryCorps. And with StoryCorps, it's basically people who are explaining their experiences or kind of reflecting on the people they lost during 9/11. That's what students are doing today. It directly helps them with their project they're working on, which is primary source based. With their project, they're picking one theme or one emotion that deals with 9/11. So for example, courage. Then they find primary sources, whether it's speeches, interviews, videos, pictures, anything created or written during that time that reflects their theme. Thanks for joining us.